Hi.
Nadine, hi. Hey, congratulations on Continue.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
So,
I remember this film all the way back from CineQuest, which I want to say was 2 years ago. So
yeah,
your film has completed its film festival circuit, and now it's going to be released out to the rest of the world. I mean, you must be delighted that this is happening.
absolutely. It's like a surreal feeling of like you put so much work into this thing and it becomes almost like a second child. And, you know, just to finally be here and get to share it with the world is like the best feeling in the whole world. It gives you just this immense sense of pride. I'm like, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I know we've spoken on the subject before, but of course now the rest of the world gets to watch and listen. So we always have to ask where the original idea came from or continue.
Yeah. So Continue is based on true events from my life. And it's based on the story of of an attempt I made on my life when I was 23. And the entire purpose of this film and message for this film is to help others out there that are struggling to realize that they're not alone and that there are other people struggling with these same battles and also to educate those who maybe have never experienced mental health or depression, suicidal ideation. It's a really complex subject and for people who have maybe never experienced, it's really hard to understand or to look at someone you love who's experiencing it with grace. And so I made this film for people who are struggling, but also for those who've never experienced it, and just to try and shed a light and also to elevate a topic that in the past has been a little bit taboo. And I believe that the world is changing and we're evolving as human beings, and we're really starting to have these incredible conversations about mental health. And so I created this film hopefully to spark more conversations and have people talk about it after they leave the theater.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in the case for this film, how different is Dean from you?
I mean, Dean is so much a part of me, but she is very different from me. And there are things that differ from our storyline that were really important for telling the story and communicating the message. So there are things that differ from my real life to Dean's, which was also very important to me because I did not want to take on everything from my past and be like, this is 100% me, especially with acting this out such hard moments from my life. It was important to me to feel like I was slipping into the skin of a character, not really slipping back to where I was when I was 23 and had the hardest year of my life. So she does differ, but truthfully, I mean, Dean is me at heart, though. The struggles, the loyalty and friendship, the love. I'm a hopeless romantic. That's why my production company is Hopeful Romantics. So I she's a huge part of me, but we also do have some differences.
Yes. Now, you wore so many hats through this in production. Obviously, you wrote it, you directed it, you produced it, and you even starred in it. Tell us about the difficulties making that decision that you would be the lead in your own film.
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started this entire journey, because from the first like inception of starting to write the script was over 10 years ago. I was, it took a lot of years to develop and cultivate my writing and also then to start to try and get this film made, especially about the subject matter. But when I first started out on the journey, it was always to act. It was to dive into these experiences from my life, to revisit them in a healthy, different way, and to hopefully help people. Um, but as I developed it more and invested more of my life force into the vision and how I wanted it to be in the casting, I quickly realized that like no director wants the writer and producer and lead actor like telling them how I see this film and being so involved. Like, you know, it was just kind of like, wow, there's so many things I'm going to have to like relinquish control of. And can I do that when this thing feels like my life force, my child, like I have to, you know, I have to see this through. So, you know, it was actually Cassie and Elways, who's my executive producer on this film, who side by side produced my next film with me, Desperation Road. He was my mentor through this whole process. And he was like, have you ever thought about directing this? And I just started like ugly face crying. And I was like, I didn't think anyone would let me. And he was like, I actually think I'd believe in it more. It's your calling card. You've made the lookbooks, the mood boards, you've invested your life savings, you've raised every dime of capital. Like, why would you give that opportunity to someone else when you see this movie so clearly? And from that conversation, I like wiped my tears and was like, I'm doing this. And then the journey of directing it came forth too. So it really originally started as something I felt in my bones I had to act, and then evolved into me wearing every hat possible.
Now, now, Nadine, obviously, I've watched this film multiple times. Just spoke to you once before, but because of the subject of suicide and mental health, and you acting in it, how do you basically approach yourself to go back into these dark places and not get stuck there, and make sure that the lines haven't been crossed for a film like this?
Truthfully, that is why I had the story differ. And as an actor, I'm not method. I will make up so much backstory and imaginary circumstances. And so it really does feel like I'm taking on it's not me reliving my life, it's more me becoming Dean, who's experiencing things in her life. Um, but I will say, truthfully, the answer to that is the support team I had around me. It never felt as dark as it felt when I was in those scenes as I'm experiencing it. Like I just got chills as I said that. Like, and you're sitting that and you feel it in your body. When we said cut, I have my acting coach right there, my husband, who's my producing partner, our dearest friend Jay Seals, who is our other producing partner, and the entire cast and crew and my DP and all of these people who love me, who are my dearest friends and collaborators, and we're all there just working tirelessly. And so when I came out of it, it was just, I met with such immense support and love that I was never afraid. I will say that, like, I was never afraid I was going to get trapped there, because I knew the people around me, A, would never let that happen. But B, I also had tools in my toolbox that I didn't have when I was 23. I have a therapist, I have a life coach, I have a meditation coach, I have a psychiatrist. I, have my meetings for my sobriety that, I'm very involved in. So I have so many tools that I didn't have when I was 23, and that evolution of who I've become, I had to trust myself that if I did find myself a little bit lost in it, that I had the tools to get out of it this time.
And I also found it fascinating that how you portrayed Dean, because it approaches subjects like alcoholism and pushing people away. And it seems like your personal journey, you have basically moved on and surround yourself with good people at this case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the most important things we can learn in our life, right? Is boundaries and having healthy human beings around us, because we are as healthy as the humans that surround us. What is that saying? Like you're as good as your five closest friends, or whatever that saying is. And I feel that that's really true. I am very sacred with who I let in my space, and that's because our energy is precious, and we have to protect that. But yeah, I think also, I mean, I'm 9 years sober, so that changed a lot for me. And also finding community. And when I'm feeling like, the thing about depression and suicidal ideation is you feel like you're the only person that's feeling this. You feel completely alone, and you feel like a burden. And your mind says you're alone. So a lot of times we reinforce that. I was never alone, but I find myself I found myself sabotaging or pushing people away. And now when my mind's like, you have no one, I'm like, that's funny. I have 10 people I could call right now who would be there for me, who will go on a walk with me. Like we go on mental health walks and then what we call manifesting walks. Like I have such a great support system, and also a support system that's also sober and also has like mental health struggles. So we're very much like a judgment-free zone, and we're all like a family and a team. So yeah, it's also doing the opposite of what our mind says to do, because sometimes our minds are sick and like we just have to get them healthy again. It's the same as physical health, you know, like you wouldn't be upset with someone for getting COVID. Let's use that as an example. Something we can't control. You would go to the doctor, you would get the medicine, you would do whatever it takes in that way. It's the same with our mind. We have to work and sometimes, you know, go to doctors and do different things to keep our mind healthy, because sometimes it gets sick, you know.
And how real was the institution, which is a big part of this movie? Did you end up with a camaraderie of friends, and did you witness suicide yourself?
Well, so that is one of the things that differs from my story that was really, really important to me is I went outpatient and I got a lot of help outside of there. I had a therapist and a psychiatrist I was seeing twice a week. I went to, you know, my sobriety meetings. I had a therapist, life coach, all the things. So I really dove in outpatient and I didn't go inpatient. And I regret that because I do think I would have got healthier faster. And so what I wanted to communicate in real life, I lied very tremendously to get out of my 5150 and all of those things. And I wish I wouldn't have. And so for me, it was really, really important that that Dean went, you know, and that she actually got the help she needed sooner, which led her to this beautiful life. Um, you know, so, and I do know of many friends who were in institutions and saw suicide in that way. And so I wanted to honor the fact that when you're in there, sometimes you can be re-traumatized by the things that you see, and or you can't always, sometimes you lose people that you don't want to lose, you know, and so that was really important to me for the storyline. But I also have experienced suicide in my family, and lost my grandfather, and that really, really rocked and affected our family, and you know, the people who found him and the people who had that hole in their life. And so it was something I wanted to communicate firsthand through Dean's mouth as well, of losing, you know, hearing my father talk about losing his father and all of the things all my life. So again, that's why I took the opportunity to have Dean say all the things that maybe I wish I had said, or do all the things that maybe I would differ and wish I could change, you know, and the things that I hope other people will do, that took me longer to find my way. And I'm like, you know, sometimes we really do need the extra help, and we can stand in our own way a little bit. And I definitely fought tooth and nail, but by the time I got all of the help that I needed, I did get healthy, you know, and that's what I wanted people to take from it.
Absolutely, and I love the fact of the of the ending of this story, which circles back to the title of Continue, which tells everyone we all must fight on, no matter what.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I fought very hard for that ending, and it's my favorite thing about the film. You know, it's my message, it's my thesis. So I love that you say that, because I'm like, see, I knew my audience was out there. I knew my people would get me.
Well, Nadine, thank you very much for speaking to us. Before I left, I know I snuck onto your Wikipedia page. I noticed that you're a graduate of Clovis West High School. I am here zooming in from Fresno, and I'm a graduate of Clovis High of '92.
No way. What are the odds? I never meet anyone else from Fresno. My whole family still lives in Fresno. Like I'm literally there once a month. So yeah, I love it. Fresno United.
Crazy world, isn't it? So we'll talk again. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.